Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
What's up, G?
Hey, man, that's probably the number one song. You know, I don't use Spotify, but people use Spotify, kind of list.
Yep.
Do it? So
Yeah.
it lists the songs that you listen to the most and all that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So probably that song, our anthem, 40 by U2, and thank you, U2. We are not in violation of using that because we haven't made a dime from this
Right,
from this show,
right.
and they said that you're allowed to use their stuff as long as you don't make money from it. So we are good there.
We're
U2.
good. Oh, yeah.
So, but it's kind of an anthem, kind of a driving anthem, and that's without a doubt my number one song that I listen to. It's not my favorite song. My favorite song is "Pictures of You" by The Cure, but 40 is. I saw them at the Sphere, U2, and they finished their Sphere leg of their residency or whatever it's called with the song 40.
Mm-hmm.
And Bono introduced it. He goes, we had an early album. We had, 30 minutes of studio time left. And he said, we needed one more song. He said, open my Bible, open to Psalm 40. And he goes, we just started singing. We built that song on the fly.
Yeah.
And I'm getting chills. Isn't it amazing how just kind of world works and how that song depicts for me and maybe for us and others, I will sing a new song.
Yeah.
I was picked up out of the mud, out of the miry clay, and I will sing a new song. And that's kind of what sobriety's about.
Isn't it? I mean,
So I love that, man. I just, I kind of wish I knew how many times I listened to it, but
no, I love that theme. I love the lyric. I love the theme. And I am certainly singing a new song today. I mean, I sang a dark song that was stuck on repeat for decades. And now I
needle
sing,
was stuck.
Yeah, the needle, it just kept yeah, right?
Hey, wait. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
do you remember the term? Half our audience is never going to understand this, but you and I will. Do you remember the term backmasking?
Backmasking?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you got to be kidding
Come on,
me.
talk to me.
It's when you
Maybe I
would,
named it because you're Philly. I'm Chicago.
Yeah,
so.
no. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. By the way, go Eagles! They just won the Super Bowl.
Go Eagles.
It's when you would play an album and you would a record
Yes,
right on the record
yes.
player, and you would spin it backwards.
Okay.
And it had messaging.
Oh, sure. The Beatles. Paul is dead. Paul is dead.
Yeah, and I was listening to Backmasking from Stairway to Heaven. I mean, it's as clear as day, talking about Satan and...
Yeah.
I mean, so is that what you call it, backmasking? Or
No, I don't. We just played the album backwards.
Oh. So that's backmasking. So, no, I just love our anthem, and it just says a lot about sobriety and how we sing a new song, and I think that's what it's really about. But it took me, I was reluctant. I was curmudgeon. I didn't want to sing a new song. I wanted to, fix the old song.
Yeah.
And,
Interesting.
And it just didn't work. Finally, I'm like, okay, I need a new song, and then there was that song. So
Yeah.
it's funny how it works, man. So, but
Had you heard the song in your
no.
drunken state?
No,
So you weren't feeling-
I'm sure I heard it.
but it wasn't on your playlist.
Zero. I
Okay.
mean, it didn't click. It didn't mean anything to me, and I think that was one of those things that it was given to me. It's just one of those things where, my higher power at the time, I didn't really call him God. Just the universe threw it at me and said, "Hey, chew on this," and I'm like, I at the time I hated the Bible. I'm like, anything that had to do with the Bible, I wanted nothing to do with it.
Right.
That's bullshit. and so the minute I heard it was from the Bible, I'm like,
There we go.
But then I listened to the words. I'm like, dude, that is exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so I loved it, man. But a lot of great stuff going on, and so I think one of the things we were just talking about is, gratitude.
Yeah.
Right. And kind of what that means. And so let's you use the word unpack a lot lately. Right?
Yeah, right.
They use that word in church.
Yeah.
Hey, they try to be cool. Hey, let me unpack this part of Scripture.
Right.
Okay, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever.
So yeah, let's take a look at gratitude. I would say that I was grateful my whole life for certain things. I think that I didn't have an appreciation of all the things because my eyes were half closed, figuratively or literally, were half closed most of the time. So I didn't have a grand sense of what I should be appreciative or thankful for. I think that's changed probably. That's one of the most prominent changes in my life is my ability to now see things that I should be grateful for or am grateful for that were masked to me before because I was just not paying attention.
All right, so I'm going to call you out.
Yeah.
So let's take this back to ground zero.
Okay.
We use a lot of words, right? And I like to define words, I talk to people in business all week and they use these words. I'm like, hey, stop, time out. Really smart people.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop, time out. How do you define that? Like, tell me what that word means or that phrase means to you.
Which
right?
phrase? Oh, you're saying you call people out.
Yeah,
on
in
that.
business,
Yes.
right? We're on Zoom, right?
Yes.
And they're like, well, this factor, and I'm like, no, time out. How do you define that?
Right.
Okay. Just because there's so many different ways and interpretation of words, right? And
Gotcha.
and I saw this one deal. Absolutely, this is 8 years ago. Absolutely goes south because the two people at the table had entirely different definitions of the word cash. And like on the balance sheet, so the deal was going forward, and a lot of money was spent needlessly because they had two definitions of the needs of cash, and they didn't match up. Mm-hmm. So the deal didn't go anywhere.
Gotcha.
But the assumption, I know what cash is, right?
Yeah,
I know
right.
what cash is. I know what cash is. I don't get right. So when the value for me in growing in my sobriety is when people use words, right? Happy, joy, right? We sit there and I'm like, hey, tell me what that means to you. The word love. What's the word? Right. So what does the word gratitude mean to you? And before you answer, I want to tee this up.
Yeah.
In sobriety, the first time I heard the word gratitude, there was a gentleman, Pete. Right. Gratitude Pete. And we all have nicknames for everybody, right? But he was Gratitude Pete. And the reason why he was Gratitude Pete, because he started the 7 a.m. AA meetings, and they were nicknames the Gratitude meetings, right? So he was Gratitude Pete. And so that was kind of like my first foray into gratitude. And I was so messed up at the time. I'm like, what is there to have gratitude about? Like my life absolutely blows. Like I'm not going to be grateful for anything in my life. There isn't a part of my life that's working when I came into AA. So I was so far from that. I'm like, you guys are a bunch of monkeys, right? Like you guys, I don't even know, right? So with all that said, what does the word gratitude mean to you? And let's start there.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to Gratitude Pete, because I remember being in those same rooms, and long after he started the 7 a.m.s, which I benefited from, he would occasionally show up at a meeting, and when it was his turn to share, gratitude was his topic. And so, shout out to Gratitude Pete. But, it's interesting because I had the same... I sat in the same chair and heard him talk about gratitude, and that was new to me as well. That was a new term for my dictionary for myself too, because I really hadn't been driven by gratitude, I don't think. And to your point, I don't even know if I could have clearly defined it at that point. Today, I can define gratitude as an appreciation, an acknowledged appreciation. That's it. An acknowledged appreciation. Of something, somebody. That's how I would define it.
So I'm never going to use AI again. I'm just going to come to you.
Okay, why? What does AI say?
The same thing you said.
Really?
It says gratitude is a feeling of appreciation and thankfulness for something or someone in your life. It can be a response to good things that happen, big or small.
Yeah.
And benefits gratitude, improved mood, better health, stronger relationships, right? How do we express gratitude? Keep a gratitude journal. Say thank you. Say this means a lot. I feel honored. I will always remember this. Do kindness. Types of gratitude, affective traits, mood, emotion. Then what I did is I that was Dr. Google or Dr. AI, and now I also did gratitude and sobriety.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it says practicing gratitude can be a powerful tool in recovery from addiction and substance use disorders. It can help people feel more optimistic, in control, because in addiction there's no control.
Right.
You think you have control,
Right.
but there's none, and less stressed. Right. So gratitude. Somebody said one time it's hard to have gratitude and anxiety at the same time.
Right?
Yep.
Right.
So it improves mental health, builds resilience. Right. How to practice gratitude. Express, tell friends, family how much they mean to you. Post gratitude quotes around your home. Make time and self-reflection. Right. Blah blah. So I would say is gratitude a switch or a dial?
Like that. I wanted to say switch, but I changed it to dial because I can be grateful, but I can be oh so grateful, right?
Meaning what?
Meaning that I could be grateful the guy let me into traffic, or I could be oh so grateful that you took my call when I was really struggling with an internal issue and you took the call. You picked up the phone or you called me back.
So I think gratitude, I didn't have a lot of gratitude until I got sober. Because I controlled everything. It was my world. It was my show. It was my everything. And I mean, I would manipulate you to do something for me. So I was never gracious because of that. It's through my own skill that I got you to deliver for me what I wanted you to deliver for me, what I got out of you. And I think gratitude allows us to get outside of ourselves, outside of that self-control, right? And say, hey, other things, external forces are really helping me win or having an impact on me, right? Beyond my own powers, right? And what I've realized in sobriety is very little of this is done by me, right? I do the action, but I have an AA book that lays out the plan. These 12 steps, tells me how to live, tells me what to do. I have a sponsor who still guides me. He's my lighthouse, tells me what to do in various situations. Right? I don't have to ask him, hey, should I take the trash out this week? I don't have to ask him that kind of stuff anymore. He's taught me, right? But there's still some good stuff, man. So I think if you feel you're self-sufficient, you don't have a lot of gratitude or graciousness towards other people,
right?
Because you think that you're the sole power.
I could have done it anyway,
right?
Right.
But if you're outside and you have a relationship with your higher power, right, or you have a relationship with your sponsor, and you allow people to do things for you, now all of a sudden you're like, hey, thank you, right? And you have an air of gratitude. And I think gratitude along the way is something for me that's grown. So for me, it's more of a dial, right? It's hey, I was here, and over time in my sobriety, I figured out how this shit works, and now I have more gratitude. But I also think at times it's a switch. It's almost like there's times Jen hates it when I say this, but I'm like, I choose to love you, right? So for me, that's in that moment of time, that's a switch. I'm switching that I'm choosing to love you. I don't want to love you right now.
Thank God you are, because if it was totally reliant on your feelings,
my life doesn't go well when I live with my
No,
feelings.
it doesn't. No.
But
love is an action word.
What I know is over time, my feelings always catch up. Usually catch up. Not always. I shouldn't use the word always. Usually catch up over time after the fact. And that's even gratitude, right? Like during my time of reflection, I'll look back at something and I'll say, hey, so most of the time I live today, I just live actions. I try to do the next right thing. I do so much that I don't want to do, but I do it anyhow. But after the fact, it really makes a difference. My feelings will eventually catch up. So I think with gratitude, I think one of the keys to gratitude is you got to get outside yourself. And you have to realize I'm not the master. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Because if you really feel that you're the master, you're the smartest guy in the room, you're not thankful for anything because nobody's contributing. But when I got to zero and now I'm starting to recognize, and I'm letting people kind of serve me, then the gratitude starts to kick in. And, I'm grateful for many. I'm grateful for everything today.
Okay.
Because I know it's not me.
Let me check on that.
Yep.
Okay. You're in the business world. And yes is your friend and no is your enemy. Okay. You hit 3 no's in a row. Just how grateful are you, Glenn? You hit 3 no's in a row. How grateful are you?
So I will give you a real life example. My real life example is I had a challenge in business, right? I mean, I got a lot going on. And I have a challenge and I have so it's the dial, right?
Okay.
Over time, I have enough proof that doing the next right thing gets me to where I want to go, right? Maybe in my mind, I get some anxiety at night because it's not happening at my timetable, right?
It's natural.
But I just give it up, man. I'm like, dude, I know this is going to work, right? So I have a deadline of something for March 1st, and right now it's February 15th.
Okay.
For those that listen whenever, right?
Hey, by the way, Drunk Mike would start worrying about it somewhere around February 29th.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But I have a plan.
Yes.
I've got my plans in action. I'm doing the right thing, right? And I'm confident in that dial. I have confidence that my actions are going to deliver. But yet, when I pray, I'm like, hey, God, dude, give me the strength, the courage, give me the patience, right? Give me the confidence that this is going to work, right? Because I know it's going to. I have a level of confidence. I know it's going to work.
Okay.
And I heard a bunch of no's.
Okay.
And I really, in my mind, I'm like, next one's going to be a yes.
Okay.
And guess what?
'Twas?
I had this weird, the way this stuff works, I had this weird thing. Guy reached out. All of a sudden, within 15 minutes, I got a yes that solved my March 1st problem. Right? And I can't make up how that happened. Right? I never could have choreographed that. It was a byproduct of being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and then just having faith that doing the right thing is going to work.
Okay.
Right? Same shit I did at early sobriety. There were times I went to bed at 4 o'clock because I wanted to finish that day sober.
First of all, can I tell you, I love that. I love that sometimes that's a tool in the toolbox that we need to remind people you have. You can always go to bed whenever you want. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. call it a day. I won the day.
Won the day.
And hey, man, back then, that was my scorecard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a year, 2 years, my main thing is, did I hit that pillow sober?
Right.
And now I have a couple other responsibilities added to it, but am I sober?
Right. Right.
So what I would say is, yeah, life happens, right? You get some no's. You get in a car accident. You get somebody sick. You get sick yourself. You're not feeling good, right? But you just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't let it go, and you just keep going. And so guess what? The literal minute that I hung up that phone with that dude, and it turned out better than I could have ever choreographed it myself.
Okay.
So I stay out of the shit, man.
Yeah.
I just do the work. I just let it happen. But the minute I hung up that phone, I spent a minute and grateful prayer.
Right.
I'm like, dude, you amaze me how you work this stuff out. Thank you.
Right.
You know, and it was just really cool, man. And
Do you ever, I'm grateful, do you ever journal, do the grateful list?
Oh, I've done grateful lists. I don't.
I did, but it's,
I don't do the J word.
I know you don't do the J word. Do you do, I mean, when was the last time you actually put pen to paper on a grateful list?
Thanksgiving 3 months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to do that. I'm kind of calling myself out. It's been a while.
No,
I mean, I know I am, but there is a beauty to just stopping and writing all that down.
So I think the brain, the croc brain, right, the caveman brain, is wired for stress. It's wired for crisis. It's wired self-preservation, protection, right? And so I think if you just let the brain go naturally where it goes, it's not in the gratitude vein. So I think it has to be purposeful exercise. And I'm telling you, it's like my tapestry exercise. You have to purposely put yourself in that zone because it's not a natural thing, you know? And you say, hey, man, what's going on today that's going cool?
Right.
You know, what's working today that's working cool?
That's I'm going to do it.
And I'm telling you, you start to do that, first of all, you'll be amazed at how much good shit you got going.
Yeah, right.
Because the natural inclination of this world is a dark world. It's stress, it's crisis, it's self-preservation, it's, you know, what do they call it? Fight, food, or fuck.
Oh, right.
You know, one of those three psychological things.
Right.
I don't know. But, you know, it's, I mean, the gratitude's not in that immediate list.
Right.
That's a more of a feeling. That's a frontal cortex exercise.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, but dude, I'm telling you, there's nothing better to help put things in perspective in your life than to do a gratitude list.
Well, let's do them.
And if you don't have a long list, dive in and keep doing more.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have a long list, it's two things. You're still early in your journey, or you need to open your mind a little bit more. And maybe sit with your sponsor or sit with somebody else and say, hey, help me read the label on my own jar. What things do you see in my life that are going great? Right? Because sometimes your brain, you're focused on the things that aren't going great. And so maybe you sit there and say, hey, let me open up and, you know, let's sit down and work on a gratitude list together. And you'll be amazed what other people see in your own life that you don't even see.
All right. And another way to look at it, self-awareness. Another way to look at it, how many grateful lists are you on? How many other people's grateful lists are you on? You know, and I think that's a reflection of your service and your, you know.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
I'm probably on a couple.
Yeah, I would because of service.
Yeah.
And if you think about it and you're not on any, think about it again. Think about service.
So, to that vein, that's almost like how many times is my name on somebody else's circle on the dry erase board?
Right. There you go.
And maybe some of that's because I don't communicate and tell people that I'm on their team.
Right.
And I'm cheering for
Maybe
them.
they need to know that.
Yeah, and I do that on a regular basis, man. I just went in and, you know, I have I have a son-in-law. My other daughter's dating this really cool guy for several years. I reached out to them purposefully this week via text, and said, dudes, you got a lot going on. I'm proud of you. I'm cheering for you. You are not here alone. I am on your team. You need anything, you reach out.
That's awesome.
Let's win together,
Mm-hmm.
And I was really purposeful, right? Because I want people to know that I'm cheering for them, that I'm on their team. And, so I think there's I don't know. I think it's hard to have anxiety and have gratitude at the same time. So
Yep.
I choose gratitude.
I choose gratitude. Thank you, bud.
All right, man. Hey, I'm grateful for you.
Hey, have a good week.
All right.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@sober.coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.
Stay safe in the city of Chicago. Beautiful city.